We're going to look at development tools and techniques in the tutorial. So firstly, while you do the systems analysis, you know the different stages, you know the principles of why systems analysis is done on within an organization. Now we're going to look at the different tools and techniques that are used while carrying out the systems analysis. So firstly, usually these development tools appear in the investigation stage, the analysis, and design. So these are the three main stages where the tools and techniques are focused on and used during. So a lot of this we've already covered in previous lessons. So if you've attended all lessons and completed all the work, as in the practical tasks, the group works, okay, this might be a bit familiar to you. Okay, so let's look at techniques first. First technique, interviews. Okay, so interviewing the current staff based on the current existing system. So you need to do interviews to find out what's good about it, what's not. Okay, this way, a good thing about interviews is you can build a rapport and you can develop a rapport with the actual person that's getting interviewed. So this is one benefit of it. So you can try getting to know them, understand, and then basically get all the answers you want. The only downsides to this is it can be very time consuming because interviews do not take 2 minutes or 3 minutes. They can if you're going to do a thorough interview, this can take anything from half an hour to 45 minutes. So in a way, it is quite time consuming. Okay, interviews you can get directly to a point. You can find out exactly what is needed or what's wrong with the current system. Also, you can add depth to the question. So you might have a list of 5 questions, but you're not going to stop at that. You may ask questions leading on to those questions based on what the answer you get during the interview. Okay, data or document analysis. So what this is you look through the current document. So all the paperwork, any files on the computer, you look at that data. Okay, so you look at exactly what it is. So if it's a spreadsheet they've currently got, you need to check possibly, do they have too much information on there? Do they have too little? Okay, so you look at exact data, what they've got, whether it's relevant or not. Okay, so you need to look at all these things in the data and document analysis. Okay, also, once again, on data, while you do the data document analysis, sometimes you know how people just write on a piece of paper roughly, you may not understand the writing, so you may not get a lot from that, those looking through those documents. Okay, some people may not fully complete the data or documents, so this may be a negative on that part. Okay, questionnaires. We all know what questionnaires are. Okay, simple questions that you ask and you get a response based on depending on what the question is and how they can answer it. Okay, and a good thing about this is a questionnaire you can hand out. It's anonymous. So you don't know who the person answering those questions are. You don't know whether they are happy with the company, how its system's working, whether they're not happy. Okay, so based on that, you get a response anonymously, so which is a very good sign. Okay, the only downsides to a questionnaire is, I'm sure some people have done this in the past, in questionnaires, sometimes you see a questionnaire, you see 10, 20 questions on it, and you think, oh, I can't be asked to complete this is too long. So all you end up doing is ticking everything just for the sake of filling that questionnaire. So that's a downside of using questionnaires. Okay, meetings also. You can actually have meetings similar to interviews. You can have meetings with the whole team, or you can have a meeting with the management. Okay, so managers are more senior members of the organization. That way you can get an opinion from their side, and you can also get an opinion from the workers' side on how the current system works. Okay, observations. Okay, this is another one. Okay, so you can observe. So while the staff members are working or carrying out their duties in the way they normally do, you can observe what exactly they're doing. So there might be a time where a customer is unhappy and is waiting in a queue, but because the employees are busy, they can't help them, which leads the customer to be frustrated and walks out. So these kind of things you can observe. Okay, once again, just like interviews, this can be very time consuming because how long are you going to observe for? every customer, those people who have worked, you know that every customer is different. Some can complete answer their queries within 5 minutes, some take up to about 10, 20, maybe 30 minutes longer. So this obviously can be time consuming for those reasons. Okay, and also another downside is how often those observations are going to occur. Okay, sometimes you might, those people who have worked in companies before, or organizations, or retail, sometimes you get that quiet period. So you get a period where nothing is happening. So when do you observe? And then, so when do you observe? Because then you get a quiet period, but then all of a sudden, within 20 minutes, you get a whole busy period. So that could be a problem as well. Okay, so those are the techniques that you can use to investigate a current system. So data document analysis. Okay, data and document analysis is very factual as well. So you're going to get you will see exactly what is happening in the current system, what kind of data they're using, and how they are using it. Interviews, one-on-one with someone, get some answers there. Questionnaires, very good overall to get a brief or a idea of what is happening. However, people can tend just tick all boxes just for the sake of it. Meetings with management and observations. So these are the techniques for when using when doing an investigation. Okay, now let's look at the tools. Some of these tools, like I said, we've looked at them before. We've done actual group work in class. So flowcharts, we all know what flowcharts are. So how the data or the system works, start to end. Okay, flowcharts, as you know, start with a terminator, end with a terminator. In between you have the processes, the inputs, outputs, and obviously okay, process descriptors. So the flowchart you've done, you can use structured English to explain what is going on. Ideally, I would personally do the process descriptors first. So put everything in structured order, write down the order everything is happening, and based on that you create a flowchart. Entity relationship diagrams, once again, something else we've looked at, and we've looked at in previous units as well. I don't need to go more into detail on that. Okay, data flow diagrams, we've done a good few lessons on these. So how data flows from one end to another. So from where it starts would be a customer ideally, depending on the process, whether you're looking at an audit, you're looking at how files are transferred over within the company, or you're looking at how a customer is being served or tended to. So starts from a source and could possibly end with a sink, or could end back to management, depending on the data flow diagram. But ideally, in most cases, a data flow diagram starts with a source, ends with a sink, because that data needs to come from somewhere and ends up going somewhere. It could end up going back to the source, which then becomes a sink, but it's always going to start and end somewhere. You cannot just have a data flow diagram that just is left hanging. Okay, data dictionaries. Once again, this is related to the entity relationship diagram. When you create those entity relationship diagrams, you have different entities, and for each of those entities, you have different attributes. And for those attributes, you need to clearly define or look at how they are correctly formatted, whether the correct validation is used, correct field size, is it made efficient, is it accurate. Okay, so these kind of things you're looking at in the data dictionary. Now, as you know, we're looking at tools and techniques. So we looked at tools and a technique. Now, when collecting information, so basically when collecting information in your observation, you need to consider a few things. You need to take some sensitivity. Okay, you need to be sensitive when asking questions, because you never know who you're questioning. Some people might be known as whistleblowers. You've looked at unit 3. Okay, so they may not tell you the exact truth because they're worried about a few things, such as what is going to happen to them. So if they say something that they don't like, or they may grass another member of staff up, they may it might affect them. So they may not be too happy about it. So when you do undertake these, you need to be sensitive. Okay, interviews may be worried. Okay, once again, like I said, they may be worried about outcome. Okay, does this mean I'm not doing my job right? Am I going to be fired? Will I be in trouble? Will I have to change to a new system that I don't understand? Some people, as you know, tend to, you know, don't move on with technology. They have a current system, the way they work, and they like to stick with it. Okay, employees may be biased. So, like I said, similar to people working older ways or not moving on with technology, some employees may not want to have a new system, so they'll be biased on their own part. Some people may not be happy with management, so they might even lie or exaggerate the truth just so something is done about it, and it benefits them. So this is what you need when collecting information. These are things you need to look out for, and you can't just expect that you're going to get everything that you receive from these employees is accurate. Okay, so that's design tools and techniques.